say I am.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Jack, are you leading this thing?
This is started. I'm happy with this introduction.
Oh, so are we live?
So I just marked
It's been live this whole time.
We've been recording for a long time, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah. Well, George didn't let us in for a long time because he's a prick.
Well, you were definitely in the wrong meeting.
Well, you shouldn't have sent me the wrong email.
All right.
Right.
So,
tell me when you're ready. Tell me when.
I've started. This is it. This is my introduction. So today we have Rhys Longden. Am I saying that correctly? The last name, Longden.
You are indeed.
Yeah, we have Rhys Longden on.
Longden.
We directly know each other. I know you mainly through social media. Because I followed your stuff, and then George, obviously were in the same area in terms of the country where we all were at one point. And I asked you on just because I like your content on social media, so I thought it'd be an interesting chat. And before we have guests on each podcast, I normally ask them if they have a particular message that they want to get across. Which we'll touch into later. But if you just want to give a brief background to who you are, who is Rhys Longden, what have you been doing, how's things?
Yeah, I'm great. I've been in the industry for about a year, so I'm relatively green as personal trainers go. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from the people that are surrounding me and the courses I can get hold of. I'm working at Team Breakthrough. I've got a couple of clients that I manage there.
Has anyone else lost sound, or is that just me?
I think your sound's gone there, so it has, Rhys.
We can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
We can't hear you.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
You just no,
we can hear you now.
Yeah,
Don't know what happened there. We just
it cut out. So we got to where you said you're at Team Breakthrough and you have a couple of clients, and then it cut out.
Nice. So I'm at Team Breakthrough, and I manage a few clients there, personal training wise, one-to-one, face-to-face, and I run a lot of classes there as well. So like high intensity interval training classes, strength classes. I also would say I specialize in sort of core stability and strength training. I think I also train jiu-jitsu, so I'm a jiu-jitsu athlete. I train with George up at Gracie Barra in Bath. So
come on, man, just tell us like how terrible is George? Is he in there like weirdo sat in the corner all like, oh, can I have a go?
Yeah, so he's currently in the spazzy white belt phase. So yeah. You
haven't been for a few months now, mate.
So you're still.
We're gonna come back on like a level playing field. I think.
What belt?
That's obviously because we're in a global pandemic, George, and we're not mixing with other people. Just in case you hadn't noticed.
Well, I've been doing the Zoom classes, mate, with my brother.
Oh, the solo drills. The solo drills.
No, I've got my brother. He's part of my bubble. My brother-in-law. So me and him have been doing it.
Nice.
But he's also a white belt, so I don't know how much my skills are going to be.
So you might actually have regressed instead of progressed.
Yeah. What do you think is good?
Yeah. Sorry, Rhys, go on.
Frozen.
It's frozen.
Yeah, okay, it's not just me then. Okay, that's all right.
No, it's not just you.
It's a great tree behind him, though, on the right, isn't it? Do you reckon that lights up? Do you reckon it lights up?
What, the tree? We'll have to ask
he's
him
back. He's back.
Does that tree behind you light up, Rhys?
Shall I put it on?
Yeah. Put it on.
Yeah, we want to see this. We want to see this.
Sorry to all the listeners.
But it's all the twigs and the ends. Like,
Oh, look at that.
Nice. Beautiful. Awesome.
Do we
Sorry,
like
Rhys,
that?
we interrupt. Yeah, it's good.
No, you're all good.
We're going to get like 10 more views now. Brilliant.
Got a light up tree in the background. Bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my. I don't know where I cut out just then, but that's how I would class myself, probably an athlete and personal trainer at the same time.
I watch you do some stuff with people in the gym. You tend to do a lot of, like you said, strength-based training. Is that your biggest focus in terms of like PT and interest?
I think my main bit that I focus on is like I focus on things from quite a bigger picture perspective. So my main kind of message is I want to help people become the best version of themselves through fitness, however they define it. So I'm not necessarily a trainer centric thing. I'm all centered about my client and what they want, what's the best thing for them. Just through the way that they define it, I want them to come up with their fitness goals, their dreams, their journeys, and then I'll probably advise a few bits here and there. But whether that's just finding their vehicle, whether they like to do Pilates or whether they like to deadlift heavy, or whether they want to just get better at running or better in jiu-jitsu, maybe that's the thing that's holding them back from achieving their next belt in their martial arts or something. I'm really centered on the client and what they actually want out of fitness.
Yeah. Oh, it should be because we all have we all have interest, don't we, where you prefer to read certain stuff in fitness because it applies more to you, probably our own training. Like yours is probably strength-based stuff because of all the jiu-jitsu and so on that you do. And I was just wondering what your preference was, because everybody seems to have it. Jack is definitely more athletic, isn't it?
Yeah, like you've kind of touched on the question I was going to ask for. You touched on it there, something like what your philosophy is. So you have, obviously you want to be client-centered, you want to have the client's well-being at the center of everything you do, which obviously I think we all agree with. But what's your philosophy? What do you believe people should be doing with their training, how they should be training, how they can incorporate the things they like to do, and what you can do to then help them do that? What are the pillars you use yourself?
Yeah, so we've got we need to be strength training. We need to be strong, because if we're not strong, then we're unsafe and we're highly likely to get injured. I think we've got 3 pillars. So we've got your cardiovascular fitness, which is something we need to focus on. We've got strength and quality in movement as like a second pillar. Yep. And then a third pillar is your lifestyle, and that'll be in your nutrition, your daily routines, your sleep. Those are the 3 things I try and base my training on, those 3 pillars. So strength, cardiovascular, and just having a healthy lifestyle, balanced lifestyle, not getting lost in the whole of calorie counting, fat loss bit. It's a bit more holistic than that.
Got it. Yeah. And then you mentioned in our conversation prior to today, one of the messages you wanted to get across was what the purpose of a personal trainer is. So do you want to expand on that and give us your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what are we here for as a personal trainer? What is our industry here for? Are we client centric, or are we trainer centric? Are we trying to get across our beliefs around training, or are we trying to center and focus ourselves into the client? Is it personal training personal to you, or is it personal training personal to the client? I think maybe trainers would get lost in that difference of trying to impose their beliefs on a client, or are you trying to figure out what that client wants and find the best vehicle for them to get to their end goal? So say if someone is looking to lose fat and gain a bit of muscle and get in shape, but they want to do that, what's the best way for them to burn calories that they're going to stick to? Do they like mountain biking? Do they like running? Do they like cycling? That kind of thing. So being in the client rather than being in yourself and worrying about, am I putting the right methods out there to keep me happy, or is it am I trying to keep the client happy?
That's a very valid point. That's a very valid point, because just because of the years that we've probably spent and seen people over the years doing PT, you can tell straight off from programming. If you watch all their PTs, you can tell straight away where their interest lies when you see somebody doing an exercise that is far too advanced for them, or it's far too complicated for them, or their technique is really poor because they haven't had the build up on that exercise to get to the point where they should be able to physically handle that. And that's where somebody's just got so excited about a new exercise and they think, oh, this is amazing, this will make them hurt, this will make them burn, this will make whatever, and then they're trying to get their client to do it because they think it's this new exciting thing that will keep them interested, when really sometimes the basics is what that client needs, you know what I mean? And the building the structural rebalancing and all that sort of stuff. And that's where the separation is between somebody doing it for themselves and somebody doing it for other people, because we're a service industry, aren't we? We're here to service people. We're not here to service ourselves. That's why even at the start, when I asked you the question, like, what do you enjoy reading? You know, I perfectly backs up what you're saying right now, because you clearly are interested in strength stuff, but when it comes to work, you're clearly interested in clients, and that's how we separate it. Because we could be doing whatever we want in our personal lives, but it doesn't always crash over into our PTing, because what we're interested in and we like doing, a 7-year-old woman isn't going to be able to do that or want to do that. You know what I mean? So no, I like that, man.
Yeah, I think we probably all fall into that trap a little bit, haven't we? But maybe early on, where our personal preferences have influenced the type of programs we write. So yeah, I think I agree. I agree with Simon. I think sometimes, and here's something. Do you guys, all of the room, think that the type of clients that you get are sometimes based on attracted to you based on what you've been reading and and the type of style that you do, or do you feel like you guys are adaptable when someone comes in, so it's not a specific type of individual looking for specific goals? Is it a bit more varied than that? We'll go to you first, Rhys, seeing as you're the guest.
Yeah, so I think on that point of, do you cut out a little bit then. I thought I caught the last bit of it. You said, do you think your clients come to you based on the things that you're
putting out there?
Like yeah. And I think if could you repeat that point? I didn't really hear it that well. You cut out.
Exactly. Obviously, we all have our specific styles of training and whatever we put on social media, how we're talked about by the current clients that we have. Do you feel like that influences the clients that you get? Or do you feel like you're adaptable enough to deal with any sort of client that comes your way? That's a tricky question, I think.
Yeah, I think I like to try and be as adaptable as possible with general population. Really, I think I want to be able to service anyone that comes to me. But I think a lot also, we're told as personal trainers that it's in our best interests to specify. But I've not really. I would say yes, I specialize in strength training, but again, coming back to my point, I would try and specialize to the client in front of me rather than specialize to a certain training modality or a transformation or a rehabilitation or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily try and limit my client base. Essentially, I'm trying to look to service as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah, but perhaps specialize in one little aspect of that. Yeah, cool. I hope you can hear me there, Rhys. You've just frozen off there again.
Well, I think if he has frozen, I think being adaptable should be one of, if not the number one trait a coach. Oh, sorry, Rhys. You froze.
No. Keep going. I think my connection's fairly bad. I'm being that guy.
We got what you said there, though. Yeah,
we heard it.
Cheers.
Yeah, no, I was just saying. I think that being adaptable should be the number one, if not top 3 trait and USP that we as coaches, trainers, whatever you want to call us,
100%.
should have. And that's not being adaptable. It is being adaptable in what you know and your knowledge base, but then also being adaptable to be able to apply that knowledge base, because it's different for every day with each client. You say you have a day where you've got 8 clients back to back. One client can come in feeling on top of the world and you can increase their session way more than you thought they would be. 2 clients later, that person comes in, they're hungover, been out since 3 a.m. Your session's at 8 a.m. And you're like, well, right, this session is gone. We're not doing this because you can't. There's no point. You have to adapt everything immediately on the spot. So I think, like you said, Rhys, in terms of a knowledge base, you have to know more than just one thing, because it can be all great that you specialize in strength and someone comes to you for a strength session. But like I said, if they're hungover, haven't slept for 7 hours, only slept for 2, your strength session's gone. You're not doing strength that day. What's the point? You're not going to be just like, oh, go home. I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah.
But what do you guys, Jack? Do you guys at Fitness Lab? Do you get a certain? What's the biggest demographic you get in terms of goals that they want? It's
interesting.
Loss?
So it's something we speak about a lot, because obviously in our consultation we ask them what their goal is, and I'm sure you guys do the same. And you ask, what's your goal? And it will be predominantly weight loss or to look better. And then that's the underlying goal for most people. I feel like if you were to put a blanket statement, for most people, it would be weight loss or a body composition change.
For PT in a way.
Exactly. That's the first thing people come to. They see the advert, they see the gym like, oh yeah, I could lose a bit. I'm going to go get a PT. After that, it becomes less about that, and it becomes more about, and whether that's me personally from my experience, the way I coach and educate people, it will be more towards movement and longevity and being able to perform at your best daily. And with that comes weight loss. It's like a supplement to those 3 things, for example. I don't know about your guys' experience.
Well, I think I get that. And I think from what George is saying is you're kind of asking if the information we're putting out there is attracting a certain demographic of people, isn't it? Essentially, but I think yes, and social media, of course, because if you're putting out about weight loss all the time, then you're going to attract weight loss, and you're not going to get somebody who's looking for knee rehabilitation. So there is a sense of that, but then people generally sometimes just reach out to a PT, don't they? And they reach out just being like, look, I need some help. I feel a bit lost here. I'm wondering if you can help me. So then you end up getting all walks of life coming in there. And obviously that's how you have to adapt to every single individual. But like Jack was saying, like as a PT, like adaptation is right up there in the top 3 with what we do as a trainer, because every single, if we all studied the same exams, pretty much apart from Jack, his were made up in some university thing that he got scammed for.
You can't be slating the old BSc. There's no greater education than the old BSc.
It's them against us.
PT is about science, isn't it? It's a Bachelor of Science.
Yeah. No, but it is true. No, it is true. But we all study the same things, but how we apply that knowledge to every individual person is where our actual knowledge base and our adaptation takes place, because we all know how to work through each system in PT and in training, but it doesn't apply the same way to every single person, because somebody can advance through stuff at 10 times the pace as another person because of how well they move, how well they're balanced in terms of like muscle structure and so on. So it's up to us to make those decisions, and being adaptable is like one of the number 1 things that we have. And like George said, I don't think what he's getting at is I don't think we step outside our boundaries. I don't anyway as PT. If somebody wants to learn how to run better, be a better form, I ain't coaching them. I don't run. I know I could read about it and have a really good understanding about it, but it would take me years of coaching and watching and learning to be able to cue somebody perfectly on that. But what we can do is we can also say, you can go to a running coach, but I can make you better at running through a mechanical standpoint. I can make all the muscles that support running better, stronger, more efficient. So that's where our adaptive capabilities come in. What about you, George?
If you wanted a running program, someone else should do that for you, because
100%. We're not jack of all trades, man. And that's where you would get the bad name of somebody who's trying to.
You just said your name's bad, Jack.
Yeah, it is. It's a terrible name.
Rhys, my follow-on question, just because I thought of it as you were saying about being client-centered and you adapt yourself to what the client wants and needs. how would you go about, what's your process where you have client X, they come to you and they want to do so-and-so, lose weight, but I'm going to be very general here, and they want to do it in a way that you fundamentally know is wrong. How do you adapt the way you coach and educate them? Because say they're pretty keen on it. Say, I know I want to do this style of training because I want to burn this number of calories, so I want to lose the most weight. How would you then go about incorporating what you know and applying that to a client like that?
Well, every time you seem to ask me a question, my internet is just cutting straight out.
That's good. I'll say it again.
That was a long question.
That was a long one as well. I missed a solid 45 seconds in the middle.
Shorten it up, Jack. Come on, man.
Sorry, I was just happy I didn't say
Do you know what?
Like,
do you know what? This
really
is where your degree is letting you down, because you know you don't have to go into such a massive ramble.
Yeah. The thing is that this whole hosting thing's not as easy as it looks, is it, mate? I make it look so easy.
I mean, it wasn't my fault his internet went wrong.
Well,
I blame you.
Open the door to try and eat the flow of connection into the room.
Yeah.
I've heard that. No, so my question was, you said earlier that you have one of your philosophies is that you focus what you do around what the client wants. But say, for example, client X comes to you with a goal, but they want to do it in a way that you fundamentally know is wrong or not the best and most optimal way for them to achieve that goal. How would you go about changing their mind and educating them?
I think, so take the point about that Simon said about he's not a running coach. So say if somebody came to me and they wanted to do all of their cardio through running, yeah, I know that their knees are screwed and their back is an absolute mess, and I know that running is probably doing them more harm than it is doing them good, and I don't want them to as such run themselves into the ground. But I would try and just try and articulate that point to them and say, look, there are things that we can do here to strengthen you up in the correct way so you can be as optimal as possible there, but maybe just try and find something else that they also enjoy. So they might have been, I don't know, a triathlete in their younger life or something, and maybe we'd take it through to how about jumping on the bike again, or how about swimming? How do you feel about that? That's me trying to care for my client, because I never want to put a client through something that's going to actually regress them instead of progress them.
Yeah.
I think hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think it does. I think there's an element of, when you get a client like that, there's an element of people pleasing with the job. I think you might say that, oh, I know I do only what's right for the client. Sometimes you have to people please a little bit. I don't know what your guys' experience with that is like.
100%. Yeah.
I've done it before, where you bend what you know is correct and you just dabble in a little bit of what they think is correct and what they like to get buy-in, right?
Yeah, it's
I think there's I use the kind of 40-20 approach, where it's like 40 minutes where I do the stuff that I think they need.
Yeah.
And I've been keeping it simple with the stuff where they get the heart rate up and sweating a little bit. I've just been doing a load of pad work recently, just because I know it's not going to smash their knees, not going to smash their hips or back. But at the end of it, you know, they're blowing. I've ticked that box. So yeah, I think and in the meantime, I'm just drip feeding the info as to why we're doing X, Y, and Z, why this is going to be beneficial for their needs. Here's the thing though. Do you think the industry in the last few years, the general population have got a little bit more educated about fitness and now understand more that it's not a fast game? Because all the clients I seem to be picking up recently very much talk about, well, I want this to be something that I just do now, and I want to make. Do you think that's, or do you think that I've just, going back to the point I was making earlier, I may have picked up those clients based on what I'm putting out there? Do you think it's still, most people still want to come in and hit it hard and fast and 12-week transformation? What do you guys think?
Rhys, you answer, man. Yeah,
so I think a lot of the time, you're your connection cut out. I didn't hear the start of that, but I thought what I grasped from the end of what you said is, could you just repeat it so I've got the full thing?
I said, do you think the general population are a little more educated now as to how they should train, how a much more steady approach based on movement and steady fitness increases? Or do you think that most people still want that high intensity, fast result style of training based on what you've seen?
I think from the place that you work at Stanza in Bath, and I work at Team Breakthrough, are slightly further out. So I think I think maybe you see a younger demographic of people living in the city centre, and I tend to see an older, more successful demographic. And it's interesting to see the way that their brain works. The people that I see, you've said people seem to understand that fitness is a long game, and it's a slow, steady, progressive thing. A lot of the people that I get that have got that sort of old knowledge of
old knowledge. Remember that when he comes back in the room.
Yeah. I think he's about to make a fantastic.
Yeah. We're just waiting for Rhys. Anyone who's not viewing and just listening via your headphones.
We should just build a step. Oh, there you go. He's in.
There we go. So you ended on old knowledge.
Old knowledge is where you finish.
Yeah. So a lot of the clients that I see, maybe compared to the clients that George sees, I think George has got a slightly younger clientele base than I have, just through living in the city centre. And I think the knowledge that clientele base have is more new money knowledge, and more sort of, I think that message is getting really well delivered into the younger sort of demographic of clients that we would see. But the people that I see are still really focused on that instantaneous results. They want to see it like next week, tomorrow. And I really have to drill home that message of, look, this is not, you're not going to get, it's not like financial, it's not like money, it's not like you can't just buy something and have the results straight away. I see a lot of that in the people that I train, the slightly older demographic.
I think also as well, it's that like we definitely get that. We still get that. The younger generation are a little bit more knowledgeable. Social media is playing a huge role in that. And I think we've talked about it before, being strong and fit is sexier now than being muscular or having muscle tone, which doesn't exist anyway, as we said before. But the generation that Rhys is talking about that want the results right now, nice and fast, they have a real issue of not wanting to change things really fast, and that's the issue there, relying between results, because a 50-year-old can get the results a 20-year-old can get if they put in the same amount of effort. I don't mean in terms of muscle gain and stuff like that, but they can see, statistically really good results if they're willing to put the work in. But the older generation, you're dealing with years of misinformation, you're dealing with tradition, you're dealing with habits that have built over a lifetime. So it's really hard to get them to change, but they want the change really fast. Yet they're not willing to do the changes themselves really fast.
No, it's true. I think what I wrote down is, I think, Simon, you're completely right. We've mentioned this a few times, and that the strong is now sexy, where strength training through social media has become more popular and seen as, oh, it's actually good for you. It can make you look good, but it's also good for you. But I think there's also an element where I think there's the education behind the fact that people know it needs to be a regular part of their routine.
Yeah.
However, I think it's often implemented in the incorrect way, with example, like everyone just doing sort of like classes or HIIT workouts as their main source of training. I think because it's so easy and accessible now, it's free. You can go anywhere, you go on YouTube, you go on social media, you can get a billion HIIT classes you can choose from. And so I think people know and understand, I need to have exercise as a regular part of my training, but I don't think always they're doing the right training to be able to do exercise for the rest of their life, if that makes sense.
I mean, we've probably seen that now in classes, haven't we, where, you have to open it up to the general pop, you have to let them in, and you're trying to adjust something for somebody as much as you can within the class realm, because you've got boundaries there, because you're trying to cater for 10 or more people. But we've all seen people who are trying to do classes and smashing themselves in there who really shouldn't be doing classes.
Yeah.
Who should not, their knees hurt.
That's a good point on
Go for
that's
it,
a
Rhys.
point
I mean,
on like classes.
man,
People,
yeah.
Sorry if I interjected.
No, you
Sorry
carry on.
if I interjected. I might have a bit of lag, but just going back to that point you said about the people that shouldn't necessarily be doing classes that are doing classes. We've got, like, people are individuals, aren't they? They're I think that's the value that you get in personal training, and the value that we can give is that it's one-to-one, face-to-face attention. And the classes are a very generalized sort of blanket spread thing that's designed to just get you a bit sweaty and go back to the point that I made earlier, might be actually doing more damage than they are good, because what kind of people you see in the classes, they're not making any progress.
No,
but the classes that I take, I've been taking those classes for like almost a year, nearly, I think it's a year and 6 months, pushing on 8. But like, these people, they've not changed that too much, and it's just, it probably goes down to the fact that their training is not really that tailored. They haven't got anyone on their case the whole time about, you need to do this, tweak that, make sure you're sticking to this habit because that's going to give you that result, and make sure you're hydrating and these kind of things. They haven't got that person there to help that accountability point.
That's interesting.
Go back to those 3 pillars basically that you talked about earlier, and they may be only hitting one, which is the exercise, cardiovascular exercise point that you get from the classes, but not the specific strength training and the lifestyle habits. So one of the 3 is not going to get the results they want. It's a good point. Sorry, Jack.
No, that's right. No, it's all good. It's interesting to hear that perspective from someone who you were obviously taking classes. So from that side, when you're taking a class, how do you like, I remember when I did it, I would try and I was like, right, I'm not putting any silly movements in. You're doing all these fundamentals. You're going to do it in a way where I can get away with it, that I tick a people-pleasing box, that you're going to get a class, but it's going to be basically one of 7 fundamental movements, and then that's it. I'm going to go upper, lower, so you're not smashing yourself. I bet I was doing what we said at the beginning, where I was influencing what I think they should be doing, not on what they want. But from a point, it's like, I'm actually helping you though. So
it came from a good place.
I've had people leave my class when I was taking classes. Like, I've had people walk out being like, nah, I don't like this at all. I'm like, okay then, well, have a good time. You know, they're like, because they're trying to think, this is a muscle building class. I'm like,
I think I think the thing that I try and do, people want new things to just keep them entertained when it comes to a class. You don't want to rock up to a class and do necessarily, like you said, like the same fundamental moves. I try and keep those patterns in mind, like squat, hinge, lunge, push, pull, carry, and try and just give them as many different variables in those patterns as possible. So it kind of tricks the client into thinking they're doing something new, but it's not quite new. They're holding the dumbbell in front of them. They're holding 2 dumbbells in front of them, one up, one down, one. Do you know what I mean? Just trying to get that variation within the same pattern, just so to adhere to that point. Look, I'm helping you here. Don't leave my class because you're going to be worse off. I'm trying to keep them entertained with the variation through the same patterns.
I remember the person who left. Funny.
She came back, man. She came back anyway after, like.
Well, I think what we used to, I think what we started to do is we started to make the class a structure, didn't we? I've got a class, although my classes are limited to 4 people. Not because of the
pretty
pandemic.
Much group personal training, that is really.
Not because of the pandemic either. So I got 2 classes on Monday and Friday. One's a junior class, one's a class that anyone can join, but you have to book, and there's 4 people in the class. 5 tops.
You lose sight always.
But you know, for the reason of I'm in a commercial gym, so I've got to think about the other people, the members, but actually more importantly, it's about I can see them all. And I can see, I think to 5 people, I can definitely sell the structure better. So we're going from here will take us to here will take us to there. We might delve into a bit of high intensity. We might delve into a bit of steady state cardio, but there is a structure to this, and you buy into that structure. And actually, I think it works really well, because people, you can see that even within the class environment, they progress. It's still a class, so it's still more affordable for the individuals. It's cost effective for me, affordable for them, and they get semi personal training, I feel. The only things they should be selling at that, isn't it? The outside, communication about nutrition and everything like that. You get that with the personal training, of course. I'm not trying to sell my own personal training here.
I mean, I was going to say that's a fantastic plug for your class.
Sounds like marketing.
2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. We can clip that up and say you can put it on your website and stuff.
Just put it on your website now. Just put more hair. Just put more hair on the shot.
Yeah, well, I'm standing like this now.
I'll Photoshop it.
Nice. Guys, we got 5 minutes. So, is there any more questions for Rhys?
Do we?
Well, I said I got someone at 5:30. I mean, you guys can carry on.
Oh, I can carry on. Yeah, because there's questions in, so I can carry on. I mean unless you want to sell anything else, George.
Yeah, I know, taking up all the airtime, man.
Yeah, cool. You guys carry on. It's fine. It's fine.
No, Rhys. Again, I'm just referring back to the notes we spoke about prior to the podcast. You said about personal training and what you believe the purpose is. And I think one of the questions I wrote down, or in my notes, or what you wrote down, is how you would define it. So how you would define personal training, or what a personal trainer is.
Yeah, I think for me, a personal trainer's like, I'm here to just help someone. I'm here to educate, first of all, because I don't want necessarily to keep seeing my clients. I don't think that fits in my kind of, I got this thought for personal training. We're actually trying to help public health here. I think we've got a massive role within that. We've got an obesity problem just globally. We've got sort of general chronic illness, heart disease, like diabetes, these kind of things. I think PTs have a big role to educate people in just being able to look after yourself and not like beat yourself up. Just don't get into that. Yeah, I want to just help people understand how to look after themselves properly from a health and fitness perspective, just to try and ease the pressure on the healthcare system and just, yeah, I'm here to, I don't want to keep seeing you year upon year upon year upon year. I want you to be able to go and be your own healthy, active individual rather than, I don't think that really, yeah, I think the whole thing about retaining clients and that's not really interesting me. I'm trying to educate and equip that individual rather than take their money off them.
Well, nobody wants to do a diet for the rest of their life, did he? And I think this is where the pitfall of all these social media giants that come out here and they just look amazing and they just sell shit, is that the people have there's no learning involved. So they basically, if you go and do a Cambridge diet and then you're like, oh my God, I lost 2 stone off that, and then back to square one eating, and then they gain the 2 stone back. There's no education there. Whereas what I think you're saying there, Rhys, is you're trying to give people the tools to be able to go off and live the rest of their life as healthy as possible with the knowledge to get them through that, because that's basically what we're doing, aren't we? We're teachers, but in the fitness industry and the health industry.
I think that's exactly the point. I mean,
no pensions, though. No pensions.
I'm trying to.
No pensions.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point. I'm trying. If I can be fit, be healthy, I enjoy every single thing that I do when I train because I pick the things that I like. Right. I don't resent any of it. But I could be a very lazy individual. I like to play PlayStation games, but I like unhealthy food. But I'm still in good shape. I enjoy all of my training because I select my training correctly. And yeah, it's something that is not necessarily a task, and it's something that I understand. And if I can understand it, you can understand it, and you can. I think everybody comes say they say to me I want to look good, I want to feel good, and I want to have more energy. They're like the main things that clients come to you with. And if I've got that knowledge and I can equip them in that knowledge, then that's it. As you said, Simon, give them the tools.
Yeah. I think it's a very important point. I don't think people, especially people that are in the self-employed space and do it on their own, say enough. The fact, because it sounds bad for business, that you don't want to keep people forever, because you don't, and it's true, you don't want people to rely on you forever, because it doesn't make sense.
They could move away. You could move away. You could quit the industry. Anything, you know.
Well, I mean, do any of us want to be coaching when we're 65?
George,
personally, no. Like, you can have an element of it, but on the gym floor taking sessions, probably not.
No.
So there's going to be a point where you have to. So you need to obviously plan for that. But then also from a client perspective, it's true that that person, unless that person really wants to, and you have a great relationship, fine.
Yeah, it's different. Some people just want to do exercise where they don't want to think about it.
Correct. Yeah, there's some level of mindfulness, and it gets them in a good space. But there are some people that you can't rely on me forever. But then, Rhys, what do you think are the weaknesses within the industry currently that are stopping personal trainers being viewed to have that role, or what are trainers doing that is incorrect in your view, where they're not doing the right things to have that role? What are your views on that?
If you look at Instagram, and you see like anyone can be a coach. You can label yourself as a coach on Instagram. Like you don't necessarily have to do the qualifications. And I think there's a lot of, let's just take the fitness industry as a whole, for example, because I think that kind of captivates more of the population. But we have a lot of fads, quick fixes, click, 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 like instant gratification stuff. And I think that is one of the, or people marketing like a 6-pack diet, for example, these things that it gets people, it confuses people, because these things we know they just don't work, or they work for a short period of time and then they stop. So to kind of come back to the point, we've got an educational point here. We need to make sure that we can just help people to understand their body and understand the way that they work, because that's not going to be the same as the person stood next to you, because we're all individuals at the end of the day.
100%. But also, just to go back on your point there, Jack, before when you were saying that, like, it's bad business saying that we want to get clients to go off on their own. I think the opposite of that, because I think if you're a great coach and you get somebody to reach their goal and they're able to go and do it on their own, then that's the biggest selling point in the world, because they'll go off and somebody then will go, like, because our clients are our work. They're basically our advertisement, aren't they? They're walking
business card.
You keep somebody forever and they never change, then it's going to look bad.
That's true.
So really it works in our favor, because somebody in will be like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in ages. You look amazing. What the hell have you been doing? Oh, I used this trainer, Jack, and he's a terrible person, but he's actually quite good trainer. And he gave me all the tools to move on. Boom, you got another client. Boom, you know what I mean? So it's
very true. I think also sort of governing bodies, if that's the right word, and companies that provide the...
I'll be back. One sec. Go, carry on.
And people that provide the qualifications for people to say they're a coach, they don't help us as trainers or the industry one bit. Because I remember, like, you can go get qualified as a PT online in like a day for like $25 some places. And it's, what chance do people have in respecting an industry or knowing what's good and what's bad if, firstly, that's the case where you can go get a qualification and have it. So if someone does question you, you paid 20 quid and done a day's online course, we've never coached anyone, and suddenly you're now qualified. I mean, it's something I've always spoke about with other people. I don't know of another industry where, like we said, you can call yourself a coach and it technically not be like illegal, because you can go into a gym and say you're a personal trainer and pay the fee and they won't question you. Whereas I couldn't go into a courtroom and be like, I'm a lawyer. Or you couldn't go into a freaking, like, you couldn't go into surgery and be like, oh no, I did a course. It's all right, I know how to thread a needle. Yeah, pretty good. I tried on this orange earlier. There's no other industry where you can have quite an impact on someone's life. You could easily mess someone up very easily, but there's no regulation on it. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, they've got the reps, haven't we? We've got the reps, but it doesn't really. It doesn't really, like, every time I get my insurance, there's no one asking for my certificates or anything like that. The only time that I did get asked for certificates, though, is when at the end of the last lockdown, when I was doing stuff outside and I had to get a permit. Yeah. Legal, all right? See, do things by the book. They asked me for my qualifications then. Right. So that is the only time.
You probably could have just made some up in Photoshop and they would have accepted that.
I just put a picture, because obviously I haven't got any qualifications. I just put a picture of myself with, like, on Canva, and it just said qualified PT.
Yeah.
It kind of made it official.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think on that point that we were talking about, the actual quality of the PTs in the industry, from having a BSc and understanding, like, sports performance and human physiology to a certain degree, and then taking a personal trainer's exam, I was in there thinking, I'm going to have to take this exam to pass this exam, not necessarily to, like, I knew some of the things in there necessarily, the questions and the answers that I had to give weren't necessarily correct for a lot of things. And I think, I don't think the quality of the examination boards are quite up to scratch. In I don't know if they're on new knowledge or if they're running off knowledge from years and years ago.
Well, I currently knew a personal trainer qualified once who was asking me to do a tricep curl. I've never come across that exercise before, but obviously he must have learned something amazing in his But that just shows you where, he was qualified and that was his level of knowledge. And I was like, oh, give me a couple of arm exercises. And he's like, oh, right, we'll do a tricep curl. And I was like, oh, what's that?
That's not a thing. Do you think, though, that the quality of personal training is improving, though? The standard, I should say, of personal training is improving.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to think so. I think there's a lot more information out there, isn't there? There's a lot of, like, courses and things that you can do from proper legit people in the industry. Like, I do courses from the Brookbush Institute.
Any good? Yeah. Sorry to interject. Any good with Brookbush? I used to subscribe to Brent's website there until he made it on the tablet and it never worked again. But was it good?
Yeah, they're really. I think there's a lot of detail. There's a lot of reading in the courses. You get a lot. You get a lot for your money. I think you're paying like 19 odd quid a month, and I think you can do I'm in the human movement specialist course at the minute, and the content, there's so much content to read. It's really well delivered. I would say it's interesting. It's quite wordy though, but you get a lot of good content, and if you can make sense of that content, you have a really comprehensive understanding of all the different subsystems and how your body just integrates together. I think it really gives you an almost physiotherapist level of understanding as a personal trainer. I think that's massive value.
I like his stuff that he does. He's deep in the science though, and he's deep in the terminology and the technical terminology we bring, but really good information that comes across them.
I think the industry, I think poor trainers are getting found out more and more. I think, like, for the reasons that you said, that there's a lot of information out there. People are getting more educated, the general population, not just the trainers. And I think because the standard, I think, is improving, I personally think that the trainers who aren't up to the standard are getting left behind, and there's other trainers who are doing really well, which I think is forcing the industry to improve. And I think it's only a positive thing for everyone in the industry. There's plenty of people to go around, I think, and as long as you keep the standard.
I think a key point for someone who isn't a coach or a trainer listening to understand is someone can have all the qualifications under the sun, but it's how that person then applies that information and knows what to filter out and what to use with you. So it's maybe not a topic discussed about. People see a personal trainer and they don't know. That's why they're hiring a personal trainer. They don't know the information that the trainer knows. But it would be very easy for a personal trainer to spout off all these qualifications that you can do. So and so, level 4, level 5, level that. Great. As a person who employs people and takes people through interviews, it's cool seeing qualifications, and which I'm sure would be the same for all of you. Like, it's cool to see all those qualifications. But if they come in and do a coaching interview and they have no idea how to talk to someone, they have no idea how to demonstrate exercises and articulate what the message is they're getting across, pointless.
Yeah.
I think that is something that I think currently social media can mask.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy for me to look like I know what I'm talking about and all this shit because I make a good video and I can make a cool looking PDF with all this stuff on it. But then you can get many people that have never coached someone in their entire life, in person. And I think
we've experienced that in interviews as well back in our old place.
Oh my God, 100%. Yeah, it's immediately so obvious that they've never coached anyone. So I think one takeaway from today would be, ask them to give you a demo session. It can be ballsy because they might be like, no. And it's like, well, why? If you're that good, you'd be like, yeah, I'm going to blow your socks off in a demo session. Half an hour, give me that. I'm going to impress the crap out of you. Yeah. So that's what I would, if I was someone who was looking for a trainer and looking at all these things and different websites, ask them, be like, all right, give me a demo session. Show me what you're about because you're going to coach me. Try it.
Would you say it like that as well?
Yeah,
100% on the face to face, like that. Like, blow my socks off. I want my socks 20 yards that way, one the other way. Blow them off.
Immediately.
Yeah, I think it's also on that point is the personal trainer thing is broken down into two sections, isn't it? It's personal and it's trainer. We have two areas of it. The trainer side is the scientific understanding of human physiology and the ability to put that into a program. And then the personal bit is the ability to deliver and apply that program to a selected individual and apply that knowledge effectively. So I don't think you guys you guys will have seen and had this in your training experiences with clients. You've got someone who's honestly been sat down for like 10 years, right? They've literally spent 80% of their time in a chair, right? Yeah. You try and teach that person to hip hinge.
Oh, dear.
If you don't intimately know that move, execute it and coach it, like it is honestly, it feels like the most impossible thing on the planet.
It's true.
So we talked about it before. Teaching an RDL is the hardest exercise. Now you try teaching an RDL over Zoom. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, you have to do it.
That's why I didn't bother. I didn't bother with the online thing. Like, I just thought, you know what?
I did it the other week.
Nothing on my feet anyway, let alone through
it's really difficult, man.
It's hard.
It took me half an hour the other day to teach a hip hinge, but I did it in rest periods.
I think your cueing's got to be so on point.
Yeah.
So I often rely on just poking people in the right place and just pushing them and pulling them.
Yeah.
Obviously, ask permission beforehand. Like, do you mind if I like poke you and prod you? Like, me as a trainer, I'm gonna poke you. Like that's just gonna happen.
Whoa.
So I hope you're all right with it. But
that's what some people want.
We can't do that in current.
Yeah.
No, obviously not. But
unless you have a poker,
a stick, a big
stick.
Like,
I've got like a wireless poker. It like hovers out the end.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Anything?
I was going to go into just some not quick fire questions, but the questions that were put in. We had quite a few actually. We had 6 put in the other day on the Fitness Talks social, and then I had one from a client today. It's a couple of quite general, so I'll ask the first few are from Anna. I kind of asked her to. So first question is adding cardio. This is for Rhys, by the way. So, and obviously anyone can interject afterwards. Adding cardio to your general weight training, how effective is it? Does it bring better results? I'm going to assume it's to do with body composition, so maybe weight loss and fat loss. There's no specific training modality with it. Oh, frozen.
I thought he was just ignoring you. I thought he was just like
just bored out of his mind.
It's obviously cut out part way through your question. It knows
That's
when,
right.
it knows when Jack's asking a question, and the internet just drops.
Yeah,
down, so
it's all good. The question was, it's very general. It doesn't specify what it's going to benefit, but the question is, adding cardio to your general weight training, how effective does it bring better results? I'm going to assume, just to help you, that it's for body composition and fat loss.
And does she mean when she says adding cardio into her strength training, does that mean going from a pull-up into a burpee? Like, what are we talking? Or are we talking
just as a
big
general
picture stuff like training?
I think big picture. So within a training week, training plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think for fat loss, yeah, if fat loss was the thing that you were captivated on, is it going to be better for fat loss? Yeah, because you're burning more calories at the end of the day, and for fat loss, you need to be in a calorie deficit. You're gonna, it's adding cardio into. It's not going to change any of the strength training, and I don't think it's really going to change any of your results as long as you just need. Yeah, if you add cardio in, you're going to be burning more calories. Therefore, it's probably going to accelerate your results. Just as simple as that, really.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Any thoughts from George, Simon, or are you happy to move on?
Well, I think just some people are afraid of it, or they don't realize the need for cardio. It's one of those things that we can use as our secret plays, isn't it? You know, when you've put yourself in a calorie deficit, you've increased your overall exercise and movement, then your progression stalls. Cardio is the easiest thing to put in there without, you know, laying some damage down in the body or hindering your results, because you can still get stronger when you're doing cardio. You can still improve all aspects of fitness while doing cardio. It's only when cardio becomes your main driver that the other things take a little bit of a backseat. But it's a very powerful thing that you can manipulate, because time is, you know, cardio is a very good thing, because you can just be like, right, we're going to start adding 15 minutes of cardio. We can add 5 minutes onto that. We can add 5 minutes, you know, whatever it is, it tends to be. But it's a really good card to play when it comes to fat loss. And if done right with correct training, correct recovery, it won't hinder any of your strength results. Not really.
Yeah, 100%. That's the important point, I think, when done correctly. So by cardio, personally, I wouldn't be like, oh, go do these classes. Not the same, because that will affect your strength training. So if anything, it can improve your strength training with recovery in between sets if you get the aerobic element right.
I think it's when you program that training as well would probably be quite important. So you wouldn't want to go and do 30 minutes of cardio, or like you wouldn't want to go for a run before you come into like a deadlift session or something like that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, or like a squat session. You're just gonna feel rubbish in there when you're in there. Like, I would probably leave sort of 6 to 8 hours between your sessions. So crack off your run in the morning before work, and then give yourself a little bit of time to kind of repair and recover and replenish the tank, and then do your PT session later on in the day. I'd try and like split it up like that, just so you're not kind of smashed from a 30-minute run, then try and get under a bar with 60 to 100 kilos on it. That probably wouldn't be a wise idea.
Gentlemen, I'm going to leave you there. Okay,
George. Anything you want to plug before you leave, or are you good?
Well, don't forget to tune into my YouTube videos, guys. We've got the kettlebell and bands on Monday. We've got the core and stretch on Friday. My weekly tips on Wednesday, and of course the podcast every Sunday. Okay, so thanks, Rhys. It's good to see you, mate. Probably have Rhys on again, I think, at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And
cool.
You guys will obviously see you.
Yeah, we'll finish off these questions.
Yeah, I've cut out. I can't hear you. So
just go away, George. Go away.
I didn't hear any of that. I don't know if you said goodbye and I ignored you.
I did say bye. You blanked me, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll see you next time, guys.
See you later.
See you later, mate. So the next question is from a Harriet Lacey. Hope I said that right. What would be your advice for a beginner who wants to get into weightlifting / get stronger?
So by weightlifting, I'm assuming that's just lifting weights from the floor, not necessarily like Olympic style weightlifting. I probably wouldn't be able to comment on that. Yeah. So into just general lifting for a beginner, I'd say a really good protocol is just keep it really, really simple. Like, really like bench press, deadlift, squat. Just learn those movements and learn how to do them properly. Go get yourself a PT for a few sessions and learn how to deadlift, learn how to back squat with proper form. Like, do you get what I mean? Doing those movements with poor mechanics, like bum winking in your squat, like rounding your lower back when you're deadlifting, like these things are massive injury producers in that thing, and done over time, you're going to develop chronic injuries. So I think it's absolutely paramount to be able to move with optimal quality and then progress the weight, because a lot of beginners will just go in and try and rip as much off the floor as they possibly can. I've been there, I've done it, we all have. Like, no
cliffhanger. Dopamine hit. Dopamine. Cliffhangers equal dopamine. There he is. There's no that's kind of where it ended.
Oh, what did I say before that?
It was talking about with the technique there, the rounding in the spine and deadlifts. They're big injury producers, and we've all made the same mistakes trying to jump the weight too quickly. Then it ended.
Yeah, there's no value to doing those exercises with poor mechanics and poor form. You're only going to be doing yourself damage. And I think having the mindfulness and the like ability to recognize when, like, you just need to check your ego and just get, as I said before, get a PT, go and find someone who knows to coach you properly, because it's going to just lay those foundations for serious progression through PRs and lifting more and adding muscle mass. And those four exercises, sort of bench press, deadlift, squat, overhead press, is what I would keep it to. I'd keep it real dead simple. Maybe just do those exercises on 4 separate days a week, and then do some pull downs, some rows, and some glute bridges like that. And just keep it dead simple, because if you don't do them properly, you're going to damage yourself, and just earn the right to go heavy, I would say.
Brilliant. Second to last question is from Charlie Bear 4444, all the fours. I walk 3 brisk miles a day, but can't improve leg muscle definition. Tips for an oldie. I'm sure she's not old in the slightest. But that's the question. So she walks 3 brisk miles a day, but can't improve her leg muscle definition.
He's having a think about it.
He's having a think. He's in a thinking face as well right now. It's brilliant. Like, fantastic question, Charlie Bear 4444. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you cut. Well, either I cut out or you cut out. I'm fairly sure it's me. I didn't catch the lot. I got the we're walking 3 brisk miles and we struggle with leg definition.
Yeah, tips. What's she doing? What she obviously feels like she's doing something wrong. What's she doing wrong, if anything?
I think leg definition is rather a ropey thing to be trying to improve. I think what you want leg definition wise, you're going to be looking to systemically lose fat if you want to see the muscles on your legs. A lot of people will be like, can I burn my tricep fat or my bingo wing fat? I think we need to be, you're not seeing the definition in your legs because you're probably holding too much body fat systemically, because we can't spot burn fat. So I think keep up if you do, if and also, I'm assuming you're not lifting, because I didn't hear anything about lifting. So if we're not lifting, I think, so I'm just assuming that if you're just sort of personality typing, you're kind of an older walker. I think those people aren't lifting, most of them. So I would maybe start lifting and try and sort of reduce calories a little bit, or just walk a little bit more maybe each week. Maybe go for an extra walk or go for an extra mile or so, and then you're just going to use more energy, burning more calories, and I think you'll probably lose or start seeing the definition in your thighs from there. But I think that's yeah, that's something to be mindful of. You can't like spot burn fat. It's not how it
Yeah.
works. It's a systemic problem through consistent adherence to a calorie deficit.
And
I mean,
That's
funny
where you
throw
can
on
see
there that
definition.
muscle tone, we talked about this before, muscle tone or definition means they reduce your body fat and increase lean mass.
Yeah, it sounds like she's doing the right things in terms of her daily activity. She's walking 3 miles a day, so that's fantastic for ticking that box. And then I think maybe an element of patience, because like Rhys said, Simon said, you can't target one specific area to lose fat in. It will come. You've just got to keep ticking the right boxes, as everyone said. So calorie deficit, keep continuing doing your walking. And if you want to add an element, start strength training or some form of resistance training, because that's only going to help build muscle and help that fat loss 100%. And final question. I don't
think I have to clarify this point that strength training probably for your lower body is where you're going to feel those ones. So get into your squats, your deadlifts. It seems an obvious one, but true. Squats and deadlifts, that kind of thing, lunges, they'll help you out a lot.
So this is a question I had today from a client of mine, and I think it actually might be, it's such a good question. I think we should, Simon, employ this as a question for all guests at the end. I don't know if we've got time for us to, and I'd want George to be here to answer it as well for all of us, but Rhys, if you want to finish off today's podcast with answering this, who inspires you as a personal trainer?
I think, well, that's a tough one, actually. I've never thought of that. I think
fucking good question, isn't it? Jess Alford, everyone.
Yeah, that is
Jess
a great question. Jess. Fair play, Jess. That's a great question. I think just trying to be the best personal trainer I can be myself is what would inspire me as a personal trainer. I think sort of comparison's the thief of joy, really. So I'm just trying to become a little bit better each day at personal training, whether that's reading an article, whether that's I don't know, trying to like coach a client that I might not have worked with before, like a client demographic like that. But I think, as I said, I've been doing his courses as well. So someone in the industry is Brent Brookbush. I've been doing a lot of his courses, and I think he comes at personal training from a really intelligent perspective, and he's got that kind of the mechanics of personal training and really looking after that client. That's what I would probably say. But again,
brilliant.
Maybe a narcissistic perspective, but myself, I'm just trying to beat myself every day. And
that's good. It's like, have you seen the Matthew McConaughey Oscar acceptance speech?
I think I have. Yeah.
It's where he talks about he's his own hero
that on the old Instagram.
in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
So he's like, I want to be the guy I envisioned for myself in 10 years'
read
time.
his book, Green Light.
Yeah. He's done a good podcast.
I've recently read his book, Green Lights.
About that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I like it. Okay, Rhys, how can people find you, find more of your content and see more of you? If they liked you today, where can they get more of you?
Yeah. So initially, you can find me if you're in Bath, you can find me at Team Breakthrough. That's in Box. Just search them up on the internet, Team Breakthrough, all one word, and I work under Dave Wilby there. So that's where you can find me if you want face-to-face training. If I don't really do online training, but if you want to get hold of more of the content that I produce, I think you head over to my Instagram and
oh no. Can you hear him?
PT on the end. That's my handle.
So say that again, because it cut out. It cut out.
No.
Yeah, just say the handle there where you can grab people.
No, my Instagram handle, you can find me there. That's where all my sort of content is, and you can drop me a DM and ask me a question anytime you want, and I'll definitely give you a little reply. My handle is J. This is all lowercase. There's no capitals. J. Am I still?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
J _Long. Yeah, I can never tell when it's cutting out. I just
No, it's good.
So,
You're good. Go for it.
J lowercase underscore RHYS underscore LONGDENPT. Lowercase, all of it. No uppercase letters.
Awesome. We'll put it in the caption and put it in the content of it as well. So don't worry, it's all good. We heard it, but then we'll put it in the content and everything. So it's all good, man. Rhys, thank you so much for coming on.
If we've got time, have you guys got?
Yeah, go for it.
Have you guys got to go right now? I had one question for you two.
Go for it.
No, I've got time.
I wanted to know sort of what you. Yeah, I wanted to know what your sort of belief with fitness is. Like, how do you two define fitness? Like, what do you think comes within it? What do you think sort of is it, like, what is fitness? Is it more than just the gym or something like that? Like, what do you guys think about fitness? What's your like your one liner on fitness?
Who's going?
Do you want to go first?
I can go first. Yeah, well, fitness is obviously, it's a massive aim of a question, isn't it? It's all encompassing.
Yeah, I cut out for a second. So
that's okay. We heard you there.
So I go first.
So what I would define it as, especially the clients and stuff, is to be able to complete everyday daily tasks without feeling fatigued and move without pain. That is, for me, is what we should be aiming for, because we don't get younger, we only get older, and we want to be doing that, feeling as good as we did in our 20s. So being able to complete everyday tasks without being breathless, without feeling overdone or overworked, and to move freely without pain is fitness for me.
That really resonates with me. That's class. I like that a lot.
My answer is going to be very similar, around the same the same topic, but at Fitness Lab, our mission statement is a constant refinement on a lifelong journey to better health and fitness. And I think that statement encompasses the way I coach, the way I educate people, in that fitness isn't a 12-week photo shoot. It is something that you do and should incorporate into your life for the rest of your life. And you should train in order to achieve that. I want my clients climbing mountains and sending me photos when they're 80 years old because they just climbed that hill. And that's what fitness is, the ability to be able to perform and do what you love to do every day at the best you can, and not be in a position where you can't do that.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Did that go through?
Thanks,
oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Wasn't sure if it froze your end. I was like, oh no, did you hear that? Yeah, we can. Yeah, good. Oh no, then you froze.
A big delay here. Yeah.
We'll wait before we just close the chat. Oh, there we go. No, good. Yeah, there was a delay, right? That's why. That's all good. Yeah, we're here, man.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Rhys, thank you so much for coming on today. We'll have to get
you
back
very much,
on.
Man.
Did I don't know.
You did it. You're good. You're good.
We're good. We're waiting for you to kick back in. We're just saying thank you so much for coming on today, and we'll have to get you back on.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. Really enjoyed hearing your insights on things. I definitely learned a few things from what you were saying. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Pleasure, man.
Pleasure,
have
buddy.
Have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll catch everyone in the next episode. Thanks so much, guys.
See you later.
Thank you, man. See you later.